Namaste, angels. This is going to be our full moon in Gemini reading, and I've decided to do it only with the Doreen Virtue Romance angels. I decided that because normally I'm doing it in advance, first of all, of the actual moon, whereas today I'm not really. It's tomorrow, it's the full moon. And also, normally the full moon is, a day or two at least off from the weekly reading. It all falls on the same day this time, all Sunday the 3rd, and I already did an hour-long reading for the weekly, the general, and an hour-long reading for the love. So, and I'm sure I'll do 2 more next week to cover the second week of energy surrounding the moon. So I'm like, you know what, let's just see what's going on with love as it relates to not only the Gemini full supermoon, but the other major celestial and astrological and astronomical event of that day, the Mercury retrograde. Especially since Mercury rules Gemini, I think that'll be interesting. So I'm just going to do this. But first, I'm going to go over a couple things that I didn't get to in the general or the love, beginning with the sky this week. And I'm just going to start from December 3rd. I didn't do it during the general because they hadn't posted it yet, and I was being guided to move on and go ahead and record the reading. So here we go from December 3rd. The full moon officially arrives at 10:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, though it will look completely illuminated all night among the background stars of Taurus, the bull. The full moon rises close to sunset, appears highest in the south around midnight local time, and sets as the sun comes up. Our satellite reaches its full phase just 17 hours before its closest approach to Earth during its monthly orbit. The coincidence between these two events makes this the largest full moon of 2017, and you can expect to hear the phrase quote-unquote supermoon used to describe it. Just how special is it? The full moon spans 33.4 feet, 7% larger than average. Most people won't notice that small of a difference, but you can bet a lot of them will head out this evening to see the bright moon hanging low above the horizon and will be amazed at its size. But this is an illusion. Viewing the moon near familiar foreground objects tricks the mind into thinking it looks bigger. Monday, December 4th. The Geminid, like Gemini, but with a D, Geminid, meteor shower gets underway this week, although the shower doesn't peak until the night of December 13th or 14th. You should start to see some Geminids during the overnight hours. To tell a Geminid meteor from just a random dust particle burning up in the Earth's atmosphere, trace the streak of light's path backward. A shower meteor will appear to originate from the constellation Gemini, the twins. The moon reaches perigee, the closest point in its orbit around Earth, at 3:46 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3:46, 13:4, or 11:11. And this is happening 3:46 a.m. and it will then be 135,000 miles away from us at that point. Tuesday, December 5th. Mars stands out in the southeastern sky before dawn this week. The magnitude 1.7 red planet rises nearly 4 hours before the sun and appears 25 degrees high as twilight starts to paint the sky. It resides among the background stars of Virgo, some 5 degrees to the left of the Maiden's brightest star, first magnitude Spica. Notice the stark color contrast between the orange-red planet and the blue-white star. Unfortunately, the view through a telescope proves disappointing. Mars spans just 4 inches and shows no detail. Wednesday, December 6th. The second brightest asteroid of 2017 puts on a nice show during December. Minor planet 7 Iris rides high in the evening sky among the background stars of Aries, the Ram. It glows at 8th magnitude and should be relatively easy to spot through binoculars, even from the suburbs. This evening, you can locate Iris 1 degree southeast of magnitude 5.9 star 4 Aries. And Thursday, December 7th. Although people in the Northern Hemisphere won't experience the shortest day of the year for another 2 weeks at the winter solstice, which is December 21st, those at 40 degrees north latitude will see the sun set earlier today than at any other time this year. Tomorrow's sunset will arrive 1 second later, and by the solstice, our star will set 3 to 4 minutes later than today. The date of the earliest sunset depends upon the latitude, which is the farther north you live, the closer it occurs to the solstice. Friday, December 8th, which is the feast of the Immaculate Conception, the day on which it is recognized or celebrated that Saints Anne and Joaquin became pregnant at their very elderly age with their daughter Mary. Head outside before dawn and you'll find Jupiter blazing low in the southeast. The giant planet rises nearly 3 hours before the sun and climbs 20 degrees high an hour before sunup. Jupiter shines at a magnitude of -1.7, which makes it the brightest point of light in the night sky, and it resides among the much dimmer stars of the constellation Libra. A telescope reveals the planet's 32-inch diameter disk. Saturday, December 9th, a lone bright star now hangs in the south during early evening. First magnitude, Fomalhaut, often called the solitary one, belongs to the constellation Pisces, the southern fish. From mid-northern latitudes, it climbs 20 degrees above the horizon at its best. How solitary is Fomalhaut? The nearest first magnitude star to it, Achernar, at the southern end of Eridnadus. Oh God. And this is not a difficult word to say. I'm just tripping over my tongue. Eridanus. 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 Yes, the river lies some 40 degrees away. And lastly, Sunday, December 10th, the last quarter moon occurs at 2:51 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It poked above the eastern horizon shortly before midnight local time yesterday. And it climbs highest in the south as twilight starts to paint the sky today. The half-lit moon spends the morning hours in the southern part of the constellation Leo, the lion. I also remembered as I was reading this, December 5th is the last day of the Chiron in Pisces retrograde. Chiron, the wounded healer, the asteroid. So a bunch of us should begin to feel better. I actually don't think I was very heavily affected by Chiron, the wounded healer, because my personal Chiron is in Aries, and Chiron and Aries people are kind of the type to like fall down and get back up, you know, and not be hindered by the fact that they fell down. But for others, it's been a difficult time. And so you may feel that alleviated, or you might not notice, depending upon where your Mercury retrograde is in your chart and how that affects you. You may be like leaving one and jumping into another, but at least the Mercury is far, far shorter. And I think I forgot to mention Chiron in the general reading, which is really should have been mentioned. So for that, I apologize. All right, so getting back to today, December 3rd, from the Farmer's Almanac, www.almanac.com, December brings what's popularly called a supermoon, or what astronomers call the perigee full moon. Specifically, the full moon crests on the evening of Sunday, December 3rd, and reaches perigee, the point in its orbit at which it's closest to Earth, early in the morning on December 4th, Monday. When a full moon rises at perigee, the moon appears up to 14% larger and 30% brighter than usual. Almanac astronomer Bob Berman debates whether you can truly see the difference in his writing, What is a Supermoon, Fact or Fiction? But we'll let you be the judge if you want to check that out. While December's supermoon is the only one in 2017, it's the first of 3 supermoons in succession. The next 2 are in January 2018, which brings 2 full moons in 1 month. So that's going to be exciting. December full moon names. In Native American cultures, which tracked the calendar by moons, December's full moon was known as the full cold moon. It is fittingly associated with the month when the winter cold fastens its grip and the nights become long and dark. This full moon is also called the Long Night's Moon by some Native American tribes because it occurs near the winter solstice, the day with the least amount of daylight. And that's that from the almanac. Lastly, what else goes on December 3rd? Well, December 3rd is the 337th day of the year. So another 13 or 4 or 11, 11. And there are 28 days remaining this year. Some interesting things that happened on December 3rd in history from onthisday.com include, in the year 1586, Sir Thomas Heriot introduces potatoes to England from Colombia. Who knew potatoes came from Colombia? That sounds kind of weird. 1854 or 99, Eureka Stockade. In what is claimed by many to be the birth of the Australian democracy, more than 20 gold miners at Ballarat, Victoria, are killed by state troopers in an uprising over mining licenses. 1967, the first human heart transplant is performed by Dr. Christian Bernard in South Africa. I paused for a second because that was the second 14. And, 14s represent King Osiris whole for me. So I started with the year 1586. That's a 614, which equals a 20 or an 11. And then I got down to this one, 1967 is also a 14. 1984, another 13 or 4, 11, 11. The Bhopal disaster. Union Carbide pesticide plant leaks 45 tons of methyl isocyanate and other toxic compounds in Bhopal, India, and kills 2,259 people. That's the official figure. Other estimates as high as 16,000, including later deaths, have also been recorded, and over 500,000 people were injured. This wasn't even that long ago, 1984. 1989. Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev and U.S. President George H.W. Bush declare the Cold War. Did you know the first official U.S. flag is raised? It's called the Grand Union Flag, and it's raised above the naval vessel, the USS Alfred, on December 3rd in the year 1775, which is another 20 or 11. Famous birthdays: George McClellan, Joseph Conrad, Ozzy Osbourne, and Julianne Moore. Would you believe NASA loses radio contact with Mars polar lander moments before the spacecraft enters the Martian atmosphere? This happened on December 3rd in the year 1999. Famous weddings: 1931, silent film actress Clara Bow, 26, weds actor and politician Rex Bell, 28, in Las Vegas. 1940, Nobel Prize winning author Albert Camus, 27, weds pianist and mathematician Francine Fior, who was 25, in Lyon, France. And 1984, or 85, or 13, or 4, 11, 11, oldest groom ever, Harry Stevens, 103, weds Thelma Lucas, 83. So one was 103, 13, or 4, 11, 11. He wed Thelma Lucas, who was 83 or 11. They got married in Wisconsin. 1993. So another 13 or 4, 11, 11, baseball player Darryl Strawberry, 31, which is also 4 or 11, 11, weds Cherise Simon, who was 26. And 2005, NBC correspondent Hoda Khattab, who was 41, weds New Orleans tennis coach Berzis Kanga in the Dominican Republic. Famous deaths: Diocletian, Robert Louis Stevenson, Mary Baker Eddy, and Pierre Auguste Renoir. Pierre Renoir was a painter and a sculptor, a leading impressionist painter during the early 20th century. His famous works are Bal du Moulin de la Galette. This was done in 1876, which is another 13 or 4, 11, 11. And also Luncheon at the Boating Party in 1880. He was born on February 25th in 1841 and was a Pisces from Limoges, France. He died on December 3rd in the year 1919, another 11. He was 78 at the time. Mary Baker Eddy was the Christian Science founder. She founded a new religious movement that emerged in New England in the late 19th century called Christian Science. She was born on July 16th in 1821 and was a Cancer from Bow, New Hampshire, USA. She died on December 3rd in the year 1910 at the age of 89. Robert Louis Stevenson was a novelist, and he's well known for his novels Treasure Island, Kidnapped, and Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. However, he was also a poet, a travel writer, and a playwright. He was born on November 13th in the year 1850 and was a Scorpio from Edinburgh, Scotland. He died on December 3rd in the year 1894, which is another 1304 or 1111, at the age of 44 of a cerebral hemorrhage. And Diocletian was Roman, a Roman emperor from the year 284 to the year 305. He defeated the Sarmatians and Capri during several campaigns between 285 and 299. He styled himself an autocrat, elevating himself above the empire's masses with imposing forms of court ceremonies and architecture. He is perhaps best remembered for the Diocletian persecution from 303 through the year 11. That was the empire's largest and bloodiest official persecution of Christianity ever. And I clicked on the page and changed it by accident. So I guess I wasn't meant to go over the people who had birthdays. I'm moving on to the cards, beginning with soulmate. Yes, this is your soulmate. And I think I started with this in the weekly love reading this week. But first, the dice, beginning with forgive it. Forget it, yes. Romantic dinner. And cocktail. So food and drink. Aww. Same dice from the weekly. Spirit says 29. I love it. Also, yes, both of these are from the weekly love reading. Says yes. And sex. All right, so yes, soulmate. And opening to this could be the one. You've already met the romantic partner you seek. This could be the one. Heart-to-heart conversations. Honestly discuss your feelings with each other. I talked a lot about why I felt there'd be effective communication or progress toward that between the Mercury retrograde and the Gemini full supermoon. This could be the one. Also, Sagittarius very much involved in all of that. The moon at 11 degrees Sagittarius, although we didn't read that just now. I read that in one of the other readings. I think the general. You deserve love. You are lovable. This could be the one. And playfulness. To recapture romance, allow your inner youthful spirit of fun to shine. Playfulness, a very Gemini type of card. We are the more youthful of our element of air. Playfulness back. I'll go one more. And passion. Allow your heart and soul to sing with joy. Passion, possibly turning up because of Sagittarius and fire element. Wands being about passion. Very soon, if you clearly decide what you want, it will come to you now. And the overall energy is passion yet again. Masculine, wedding. This situation involves marriage. So we saw a lot of cards of sacred marriage and sacred union in both the general and the love reading. But I was getting to this, but in some cases there were also some marriages, it seemed that were coming to an end, some 3D type marriages and other breakups. And that can be why these two are showing up one atop the other. Release your ex and wedding. The time has come to clear your energy, because also I hate like going over the previous reading that I did or giving away stuff, because I really think that people should watch. They can truly understand like from where these energies come. But in the love reading, right here in the same spot where this release your ex is separation. And I said it has to do with not the divine partner, but another partner or friendship or something of which they need to let go. So that's what this is. The masculine subconscious, and I was just, if they keep like beating me to it, I was just about to say, for some, this can be about communication too. And the masculine subconscious is express your love. Go ahead and make the romantic gesture. So for some, it's a more St. Andrew like release your ex, as in expressing yourself and being like your true self. Go ahead and make the romantic gesture. Maybe even proposing marriage. So to put a more positive spin on this masculine column here. And evidence of both of those types of scenarios, or each of those types of scenarios, again, in the other readings that I did for the week. You've already met the romantic partner you seek. This could be the one, feminine. Surrounded by playfulness. To recapture romance, allow your inner youthful spirit of fun to shine. So we're guided to relax, let our hair down, chill the freak out. Keep 29, yes, and sex in mind, maybe too. With the messages from the dice. In the feminine subconscious, let your friends help you. Ask for and accept support from others. And crowning, separation. Time apart from your partner is on the horizon. Look what it's crossing. Okay, I said this card was in this exact spot in one of my other readings. It has to do with boom, 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 in a lot of cases. Getting out of what may be an actual marriage or wedding, calling off a wedding, or breaking some other sort of commitment here. This is what is like literally between them, the divine couple. So the masculine has to take care of this. At the root, make the effort. Great love is worth taking the steps you're guided to take. So he's being guided to make these moves to either express his love, maybe toward a commitment, or to make a move to exit a prior engagement or commitment so that he can move on with his life. Whichever is the case, and same thing goes for the feminine. You're guided to, like, loosen up, maybe exercise some compassion, forgiveness, and, stop holding on to resentment that'll cause you to be uptight. Letting go of things will allow you to be more playful and youthful. Maybe even talking to your angels or your real friends here in the 3D and allowing your friends to help you. That would be your effort. At the heart of the matter, boom. Soulmate. Yes, this is your soulmate. So this is why we're doing this. And I would go on and clarify a bunch of stuff here. But I think it's pretty clear with these cards having already shown up. So this one's going to be quick and easy. Further advice to the masculine: get rid of the unrequited love. You've been receiving this message for a while. Some of you have done it already. Some of you, you have been more hesitant. You're worried about what others may think, what others may say, what society dictates in this regard, whatever your personal scenario is. All of this was evident in the other readings I did this week. It's time to let all that go and instead release your ex, as in capital X, as in St. Andrew, who we just celebrated this past Thursday on his feast day. All about not only living, but even dying on his own terms, right? That's where you've got to, move into. Or that's where the romance angels recommend, the space they recommend you move into. There's not enough attraction or chemistry to keep this relationship going. And you know what your advice was from the romance angels in the love reading? Chemistry, having to do with the divine feminine. This is talking about the relationship that doesn't have any chemistry, that needs to go. And feminine to us, getting to know each other. As you reveal your innermost selves to each other, your bond deepens. And how will we get to that point? By being lighthearted. You know, if we're carrying a heavy load, a heavy burden, somebody else that's dealing with one already is not going to want to join us on that journey. I hope that you guys enjoyed this reading and find it helpful. Namaste, angels.